Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's lesson on important figures in psychology. Today, we will explore five influential psychologists and how their theories continue to impact education, behavior, and development. By the end of this session, you should be able to understand how each theory explains human behavior and learning. Our agenda today consists of reviewing the objectives. Next, we will introduce foundations of psychological theory. We will examine five major psychologists: Freud, Skinner, Rogers, Pavlov, and Paget. After each section, I will include a quick reflection question to keep you engaged. Finally, we will summarize key takeaways and connect these theories to classroom practice. Objectives and learning outcomes. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify key figures in psychology and their contributions, understand foundational concepts such as classic conditioning, operant conditioning, cognitive development, apply psychological perspectives to real life scenarios. Students will be able to match psychologists to their contributions, analyze case using multiple perspectives, and reflect on how historical figures shape modern day psychology. Let's check in. Each one of the psychologists we'll be discussing today, more than likely before signing up for a psychological course, you have heard these names, whether in social media, popular pop cultural references, and or when discussing basic theories in English. From your previous knowledge, what did they do that made an impact on you? Let's also think about how this ties into our faith. God places people in our lives to guide and inspire us. Influential psychologists shape our understanding of human behavior. By learning from their discoveries, we gain insight into God's design and can respond intentionally and thoughtfully. Now it is time to introduce our psychologists. Psychology is a scientific study of behavior and mental processes. Over time, different theories develop different perspectives to explain how we think, feel, and behave. Some focus on the unconscious mind, some focus on observable behavior, and others focus on personal growth and development. Each perspective gives us a different lens for understanding people. We will be discussing and focusing on Sigmund Freud, B.F. Skinner, Carl Rogers, Ivan Pavlov, and Jean Paget. Let's begin with one of the most influential and controversial figures in psychology, Sigmund Freud. Born in 1856, passing in 1939, he's the founder of psychoanalysis. His key contributions consist of theories of the unconscious mind, ID, ego, superego, defense mechanisms, early childhood experiences shaping personality. Sigmund Freud developed psychoanalysis and emphasized the unconscious mind. He believed our behavior is influenced by hidden thoughts and early childhood experiences. Freud described the personality as having three major parts: the ID, the ego, and the superego. The ID seeked immediate pleasure. The superego represents morality, and the ego balanced both in a realistic way. Freud introduced defense mechanisms like denial and repression. In education, this reminds us that students may bring emotional experiences into the classroom that influence their behavior. His contributions mattered because he introduced the idea that behavior is influenced by the unconscious processes, and he laid the foundation for talk therapy today. B. F. Skinner, born in 1904, passing in 1990, focused on behavioralism and operant conditioning. Key contributions consisting of operant conditioning, reinforcement and punishment, behavior shaped by consequence. B.F. Skinner was a behaviorist who developed operant conditioning. He believed behavior is shaped by consequences. If a behavior is reinforced, it increases. If it is punished, it is decreased. Positive reinforcement, like praise and reward, is commonly used in classroom. Skinner focused on observable behaviors rather than internal thoughts. His work formed the foundation of many classroom management styles. He mattered because he influenced education and behavioral management today. He's also the foundation for behavior modification programs. Carl Rogers, born in 1902, passing in 1987, with a focus in humanistic psychology. Key contributions around person centered therapy, unconditional positive regard, self concept, and self actualization. Carl Rogers was a humanistic psychologist who believed people are naturally good and motivated to grow. He introduced the idea of self actualization, becoming your best self. He also emphasized unconditional positive regard, meaning accepting individuals without judgment. In education, this transition creates a safe, supportive environment where students and peers feel valued and heard. Rogers reminds us that emotional safety supports academic success. His contributions mattered because he emphasized empathy and acceptance. He shifted therapy towards a supportive relationship goal. One of the most commonly known and regarded in popular culture references is Ivan Pavlov and his dog experiment. Ivan Pavlov was born in 1849, passing in 1936, most known for classic conditioning. Key contributions: learning through association, conditioning stimulus and condition responses, Pavlov's dog experiment. He discovered that learning can occur through association. In his famous dog experiment, he paired a bell with food until the dog salivated at the sound of the bell alone. This shows us how environmental cues can trigger learned responses. In school, students may associate learning subjects or environments with positive or negative emotions. Pavlov's contributions mattered because he showed how behavior can be learned through association. He is the foundation for understanding phobias and emotional reactions. Jean Piaget, born in 1896, passing in 1980, known for cognitive development. Key contributions: the four stages of cognitive development, children thinking directly and differently at different ages. He focused on cognitive development. He believed that children move through four stages of thinking: sensory motor, pre operational, concrete operational, formal operational. Each stage represents a different way of understanding the world. Pageant's work helps teachers design lessons plans that match student developmental levels and help peers and colleagues adjust their deliverance of different theories in order to fit the learning styles of others. He mattered because he influenced education and emphasized the development of readiness. In summary, let's review our major figures and their contributions. Freud focused on the unconscious mind. Skinner focused on behavior and reinforcement. Rogers emphasized personal growth and emotional support. Pavlov explained learning through association. And Paget explained cognitive development. Each theory offers a unique lens. Take your time reviewing this lecture. Pause each slide. Review each psychological concept and psychologist who has contributed to science and today. Review the major figures. Highlight application of the psychological perspective. Emphasize faith. Use your knowledge of psychology to intentionally guide and support yourself. Think of which psychologist's perspective resonates with you the most and why. How can understanding these figures help you in teaching or daily life? Outside of the classroom activities that will be graded for this week's module, I want you to take a second to guide yourself through this activity. Pause the video, review, think, and use it to help guide you as you participate in the actual discussions that are taken for a grade. Imagine that you are teaching a classroom. One student refuses to participate, another constantly seeks attention, and the last struggles academically but tries very hard. How would Skinner explain the attention seeking behavior? How would Rogers respond to the student who refuses to participate? And how would Pageant guide instruction for the struggling learner? Take a moment to think. Discuss this with another individual. This activity shows how these theories are not just historical ideas, they guide real life classroom discussions. The two key activities we'll be relying on for a grade this week are a matching exercise where you'll be asked to match psychologists to their key contributions and concepts. Secondly, is an application scenario that we will use for our discussion board and our essay topic. A teacher observes a child using emotional regulation and social interactions in the classroom. The child is struggling. Using Jean Pageant's cognitive development, 4 stages of thinking, sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational, analyze the child's behavior and suggest strategies to support social and emotional growth. Use this in your discussion board on which psychological perspectives are relevant. This week's course, we learned in practice to use reinforcement strategies like Skinner, create emotional, safe environments like Rogers, be aware of emotional influences like Freud, build positive learning associations like Pavlov, and teach developmental appropriate levels like Pageant. To support diverse learners, let's provide visual aids, offer verbal explanations, allow movement breaks, and use positive reinforcement, providing structure and routine for students, peers, and when delivering different theories. In our next course, we will watch a video on major psychological schools of thought, read textbook selections on structuralism, functionalism, and behavioralism, and complete a short quiz that will prepare us for the rest of the week's studies. Psychology provides multiple perspectives for understanding behavior and learning. No single theory explains everything, but together they give us powerful tools. Thank you so much.